in years past, the new guys I haven't really known or played against them, and maybe it's just because I've been around a little bit longer now, but it seems like everybody that I'm meeting for the first time I've either faced or I've played against, or I've heard about. So I think it also speaks to the talent that we brought in. I think we did a great job covering a lot of areas, and not to mention the new staff that we have in front office as well. So it's very exciting. It's great to be back in this beautiful facility. We didn't get to spend a whole lot of time in this new facility last year, so it's been a lot of fun.
What do you think the expectations overall should be for this group going into this season?
Well, you know what? I think there's been enough talk about what our expectations should be. I think the most important thing is that we go out there and we work hard. We take it day by day, and it's easy to see the talent that we have, but I think it's important that we don't allow that talent to be our worst enemy. I think a lot of times talent can make you complacent, and I think this group, with the leadership that we have, we're not going to do that. We're gonna go out there every day, and we're gonna work hard. We're gonna earn what we get, and we have to do our best to go out there and win every day. We're not going to do that, but we certainly have the talent. We need to put in the work, and so I'm excited to go out there and do that with these guys and have a lot of fun doing it.
Thanks.
Next question is from Justin Toscano.
Hey, Mike, have you and the Mets had any contract extension talks to this point?
No, we haven't started that conversation. I think for now it's great for me to just be able to come in and get my feet wet and, like I said, meet the guys, see everybody again. A lot of my best friends are out here, so it's just good to see them. It's good to be back out on a baseball field and run around and work on our craft. And for now, that stuff hasn't started yet.
Similar to what you just said about the expectations, I think you said a few weeks back that I think you called the hype a trap. How long have you guys been talking about that idea that you can't really fall into that you need to kind of prove your worth and prove those expectations?
Well, I had a conversation with Louis at the end of last year, and I feel like I've been around here for a while, and we've had some talented teams. I think this is the most talented team that we've had in a long time, but there always seems to be this hype around either our pitching staff or the young hitters that we have, or whatever it may be. And I've seen that, it's not that we didn't work hard, but you can fall into this mode of thinking that you're better than you are, and you're not good unless you win a lot of games. That's just plain and simple. So, and we haven't done that yet. We look forward to doing that this year, but we have to put the work in first. We have to have that process, those routines, and those practices like champions before we can go out there and win games. And I think it all starts here, and we've started that process.
Thank you.
Next question is from Ed Coleman.
Hey, Michael, good to see you. It's interesting with this team. But first of all, with Lindor, how is it seeing him in a Met uniform? And with him aboard as a switch hitter, what do you think of the length of this lineup, what it can be?
It's been awesome getting to know Frankie. It's been really cool that, yesterday he was going for his production stuff, and he had his full uniform on, and I was like, man, that looks good. That looks really good, seeing you in blue and orange. And he was just saying, yeah, me too. He's excited about it. But I think it's just another leader. Everything that I've heard about him, everything that I've seen, he plays the game the right way. He plays it with a smile on his face. Obviously, he's incredibly talented. And I think what doesn't get talked about enough is his ability to lead, for sure. I mean, he's already stepped into this clubhouse and been able to be a guy that guys look up to, guys will follow, and that's hard to do coming into a new group of guys. So he's got a lot of respect, and we're obviously very, very happy to have him.
Thanks.
Next question is from Tony DeComo.
Hey, Michael, good to see you. It feels like every time at this year we ask you, do you have more? Is there a leap that you can give in terms of your numbers? And it also seems like you accomplished that in 2020, albeit over 60 games. So what makes you confident now that what you did in those 60, you can kind of extrapolate to 162 and be that player for a 6-month season?
Well, I worked on a lot of the same things. I felt like there were times last year that I lost sight of what I was trying to do, be that complete hitter. And, it's natural. You go out there, you start hitting a couple home runs, and then you get away from what took you to that point. And so I'm trying to keep that in check. I was working on that this offseason of really staying level with my swing, being comfortable going to all fields, and just having a simple checklist of things that bring me back to that point. And I think we did a good job of that. I think there's still room for me to grow on the bases defensively, and just as a person, as a leader in the clubhouse. And so I look forward to having that opportunity this year.
That last bit, real quickly, it seems like you have kind of become more of that, a little bit more vocal, even leader in the clubhouse. Is that a conscious decision, or something that's just happened naturally with you as you've become more of a veteran?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it just kind of comes with. I've been here. This is year 6, I think. A lot of the same people around. Staff members. Guys who I've come up with and have special relationships with, and in years past I would come and show up to the clubhouse, and you'd have David Wright in there, you'd have Murph, you'd have guys who have been tenured for a long time, and you're just sitting there listening to them. You're trying to learn from them, not necessarily being the one to speak up. And so I think I've been blessed to be around some incredible leaders and learn from them. And I guess you stick around long enough, you start to look around. There's not as many of those guys around, and there's an opening for that. So it's been really cool to kind of grow up a little bit in this organization.
Thank you.
Next question is from Tim Healy.
Hey, Michael, to follow up on Justin's extension thing, which I know you don't love talking about, but do you know at what point you personally become involved as far as conversations with Sandy or whomever on the Mets side, or versus your agent handling it?
Well, I mean, I would imagine I'll personally be involved with a lot of it. I'd like to be. I don't know how these things go. It's I guess I could ask Jake. I could ask some guys that have been through this process, but to be completely honest, I've been so focused on preparing myself for this season. I can't lie and say that I haven't thought about it. But my focus, I'm trying to keep my focus where it needs to be, and that's on this team.
Sure.
And so, that's where we're at.
On a different subject, those outfield drills you guys were doing, it looked like Tony was giving you some of those line drives well short of where anybody could be catching them. What was the degree of difficulty on those catches, and what did you think of Pete Crow Armstrong out there?
Well, I got a chance to talk to Pete a little bit when we were playing catch, and seems really down to earth, kind of mature above his years. And I think in the outfield drills, I haven't seen him swing at all, but his speed is certainly, something that pops out. and those drills were, it could have been just the machine being a little funky, but I think that the point of the drill was to work on those shoestring catches, right above the turf. And we've had a lot of new drills this year. Tony has brought in a lot of new stuff, and it's all been really, really good. Just things that a lot of us haven't seen before. Putting a new spin on, some outfield drills can be monotonous, and I think it puts a little bit more competitiveness into it, and more game-like kind of feeling.
Thank you very much.
Next question is from Wayne Randazzo.
Hey, Mike, just to play off of that, what specifically are some of these new drills aside from the shoestring catches drill?
We have a drill. We did a drill yesterday with a lacrosse ball. You don't have a glove on. And lacrosse balls are a little heavier. They're bouncier. They spin a lot more. So he would bounce it off the warning track, and then you would have to make the catch with soft hands, absorb the spin, absorb the weight of the ball, and just while you're working on turning your feet efficiently. So that was a new one for us. The guys had some fun with that one, seeing who could have the softest hands, see who could catch it without it making a sound. Some other drills where there's a guy in front of you who is going to make the turn and the read for you. You're watching their feet, and it's kind of a drill where you would where you have to take your eyes off the ball, and then you have to find it again. So you're focused on which way do I turn off of this guy's feet in front of me, and then I make my turn, then I have to find the ball. And to me, that's the hardest part of playing outfield, because there's times where you need to find the fence, you need to get your bearings in the outfield while you're trying to chase down a ball, and so that's something that sometimes doesn't get worked on enough.
It took a lot of base hits last year to left field and to left center field. You got your average up well above 300 last year. Is that who you see yourself, the kind of hitter you want to be this year as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I would love to be, I see myself as a guy who can go everywhere with power, but can also take what the pitcher is giving me, take what the defense is giving me out there. And that's not to say that I'm looking to push the ball out over the left field. I'm generally looking to stay through the middle of the field, but if I catch it a little late, it'll shoot through the left side. If I'm a little bit early, I'll pull it. It's not a mindset of I need to pull for power. It's a mindset of let's stay right back through the pitcher with a level swing that can cover a lot of pitches in a lot of locations.
Thanks, Mike.
Next question is from Tim Britton.
Hey, Michael, just how much of an emphasis have the coaches put on outfield defense this early in camp? We've heard Louis mention it quite a few times already.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's an absolutely very, very important part of our team. I think generally just defense overall, we have to play better defense. If you're going to have great pitching, your pitching is only as good as the guys behind them for the most part. You got a guy like Jake that can strike everybody out. You got guys like Noah. I mean, really, on their best days, our staff can do that. But you have to make the plays behind them. And so I don't know if I would say just the outfield. I think the whole thing is important, but there's certainly an emphasis on base running and defense so far in camp.
Is that noticeably different from previous years for you guys?
Well, I don't know if it's noticeably different. I mean, I think the first week of spring training is a lot of the fundamentals, over the past, since I've been here. But I will say there's new drills. There's different ways of thinking about, how you're going to make plays in the outfield. And, Tony has done a good job of bringing a little bit of, different stuff to us. We're not just going out there and catching fly balls that he's hitting off the fungo. We're working on footwork. We're working on, taking our eyes off the ball and all that stuff. So I think it's been great.
Thanks.
Next question is from Disha Thozar.
Hey, Michael, just sort of along those same lines, with the Mets being connected to some of the bigger names this offseason, like George Springer, Jackie Bradley Jr., you guys now figure to feature essentially the same outfield as last season. Were you let down at all when the Mets didn't end up getting those guys? And specifically, what's your assessment of Nimmo and Dom going into this year?
Well, I mean, I've seen Nimmo play great outfield. I've seen him make some incredible plays, and he's a guy that will work until he plays up to his potential. He's going to work on his craft. So I'm not worried about Nimmo at all in center field or anywhere in the outfield. And Dom he has that same attitude. He looks at himself as a great athlete, and he is. He's an incredible defender at first. He just doesn't have the reps yet, the live game reps in the outfield. So these guys will continue to get better, as they continue to work. And as for, being let down, I don't think I was let down, really at all. It would be great to have a guy like Springer, that bat in the lineup. It looks great. I've watched him play. I've admired, his game. And obviously Jackie Bradley Jr. is an incredible center fielder. That would be great as well. But I think the guys that we have can make the plays, and they can go out there and they can, be an elite defense, just like other guys. They're going to work until they're able to make those plays.
And then completely unrelated, but what's your take on the black jerseys?
I was a fan of the black jerseys. I'm on board. I like those uniforms. I think we look pretty good out there. But I think there's a lot that goes into uniform changes. At least from what I've heard from our clubhouse guy, and just the licensing, the approvals, and all the hoops you got to jump through. So I mean, I don't know. We'll see if they pop up, if we can make them happen. I'd be on board. I think a lot of those guys would be.
Thanks.
Next question is from Andy Martino.
Michael, asked Lindor yesterday as a member of the executive board just what his thoughts were on like the priorities and focuses going into the upcoming CBA. Just as someone who's been involved in the union yourself, wondering what your thoughts are on what the primary issues are this year.
I guess the primary issue for me is competition. We want this to be a competitive league. We want all 30 teams trying to win. I guess there's no perfect league out there, but we can make it better. We can do things to incentivize winning, and not, incentivize losing. Whether it's draft picks, whatever we need to do, but we want a league that every team is going out there fighting, trying to win. We know the players are going out there fighting and trying to win. And, no one's doubting that. But when there's great players that are on the market that no one wants to touch, we see that as a problem. We think that those guys should have a job. They can help teams win. And, I understand that the analytics, says, well, this guy's going to give us 2 wins. But that's not going to put us over the top. And I understand that. And I think analytics has its place. But you have talent on the market, guys who can still play at a very high level. Those guys should have a job, in my opinion. All those teams should be trying to win. So,
how do you do that? Does that have to do with shortening arbitration years to make it so those players aren't so undervalued at a younger age?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, you have guys who are playing at a bargain price early in their careers. Guys like Pete, guys like Soto, and a number of guys. there's lots of ideas out there. Having an age where you become a free agent, shortening the duration of control, among a bunch of other ideas, but somehow, some way, we need to figure out a way to get guys their value when they're providing value, or allowing guys to test free agency earlier, or there's a number of ways we can go about it.
Thank you.
Next question is from Greg Joyce.
Hey, Michael, you mentioned the conversation you had with Louis last year about the hype and not kind of falling into that trap. When was that conversation, and what was kind of your main takeaway from it?
Well, I mean, it was a really casual thing. It wasn't, it kind of didn't really, he didn't call me into the office or anything like that. I was packing up my locker. We were a couple of the last people in town. I stuck around in New York for a little bit longer than most of the guys. And we just happened to both be at the ballpark at that time. And we sat there and we talked for, 20 minutes to half an hour about just kind of reviewing the year a little bit. And I guess, just, I don't know how exactly we got onto that topic, but, more or less we were talking about the core that we had, the young core, how great our offense was in last year. And I guess, maybe we just started talking about how good we could be this year. And I guess maybe I just said that I hope that we understand that, just because we had a great year offensively last year doesn't mean that we're going to come out here and repeat that. We need to stay hungry. We didn't win enough to get into an expanded playoff year. You can have a great offense and not make, there's 16 teams that go to the playoffs and you miss out. We didn't do enough. We didn't play defense well enough, base run, pitch well enough. So I guess we just kind of talked about staying hungry and not coming into this year saying that, oh, we had a great offensive year last year. That's a given. We'll get the hits. No, we have to go in and still understand that we have to go out there and work hard and go out there and get the hits just like we did last year. And it's not going to be given to us. People are going to look at our lineup and know that they have to bring their best stuff. So I think that's just kind of the attitude that I had, and he said that the attitude that he had going into the off season.
Last question is Rich Pitino's.
Hey, Michael. You came up to the team as a homegrown product in 2015, and we saw each year you evolve as both a player and a leader. Last 2 years, you've had a chance to watch Dominic Smith and see what he's performed at and how he's excelled. And he's at the top of a lot of offensive categories last year in the National League. How great was it to see that evolution? And did you and him ever talk about that, kind of taking some of the things you went through and sharing them with him as he was going through them?
Well, I mean, Dom is one of my better friends on this team, so we talked a lot. I don't know if I really gave him much advice. I mean, really, his growth as a player has been him. The choices that he's made as a player. His work in the off season, the stuff that he does. I'm not going to tell him anything to. I don't want to be the one to mess up that beautiful swing. When he's doing what he's doing out there, he's more or less we're the same guy. We like to use the whole field and spray the ball and spray the ball with power. But I think what he's done is he's gotten himself in shape. He's moving around a lot better. He's a lot stronger, and it's just another example of a guy growing up in this organization, developing himself, taking ownership of his own, ownership and accountability of his own career, and it's been really fun to watch. It's a lot of fun to go out there and have success with your best friends, and you're just out there having fun with your buddies. So that's what we're looking to try to do out there. You work hard, and then you get to go out there in the field and have fun.
Thanks.
One more at the buzzer, Bradford Davis.
Hey, thank you, Michael. So, former Mariners president Kevin Mather's comments opened a discussion on everything from discrimination against players who speak English as a second language to, intentional manipulation of service time rules and misuse of that. But, you were, I think, were fortunate, to be a teammate of someone who was called up on day one in Pete Alonso back in 2019 during his rookie year. He was not unlike, Jared Kellish of, the Mariners, a highly regarded prospect. What did it mean for you to have Alonso called up on day one and to have his contributions that entire season rather than just when it was convenient?
Well, yeah, it's when a guy shows that he's a big leaguer and that he belongs, which is what Pete did. He showed up day one of spring training, and he was a professional. He was clearly ready. And then there was some talk about whether or not he would be held back because of his, to push off his free agency or whatever it is, the service time manipulation. It would have started that season off with a sour taste in our mouths if he wasn't there with us, because he was obviously a weapon. The things that he did at the plate were incredible. And then you saw what happened. You put a little trust in a guy. You tell him that you're a big leaguer. We're going to have you start with the team day one, and he never looked back. He had that incredible year, and he was a rock. He was a force in the lineup. So I think that's something that needs to happen. You get a guy that shows that he has the talent. He has the head on his shoulders to be able to deal with the grind of a major league season. Then he deserves to be there. You shouldn't take it away from him for a few weeks or whatever it is, just because it has service time attached to it. I think Pete really was a good example of that.
And with those comments coming out, I am curious if service time manipulation was something that you were ever concerned with before, again, the recent, revelation, I guess, or did those comments, kind of just being out there change your views on the subject, even in your career or those of some of your peers and friends in the league?
Well, I mean, we've always knew that was something that was happening. I think the Cubs went through it with the same, with the Chris Bryant situation. For me personally, I was never really worried about it, I guess. I had gotten sent down in 2016, but that was because I was, I wasn't very good at that time. I wasn't playing well, and we were a good team. We needed production, and so that was warranted. I knew that. I never thought that going down and trying to figure some things out a little bit, tighten up my swing a little bit wasn't in my best interest. And so, that's not always the case. Teams are still looking out for the best interests of their players when they do send them down at times. But when it's blatantly obvious, then that's a problem, obviously.
Thank you.
Michael, thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you.
Members of the media, we will send out a link
staying
for
here, right?
Luis Rojas' Zoom later this afternoon. We'll talk to you then.
Okay. So maybe move this.